You in my seat? Come on then, you can come up here. Oh, honestly, Jimmy. Go to your own seat, you didn't want it. Hi, I'm Jeremy Nicholas. Welcome to Every Day in February. It's day 20. After this, we've only got 8 more days. What a bonkers idea to decide to make a video every day in a month. I did pick the shortest month, particularly when I'm trying to hold down a job as a professional speaker at the same time. So today, we're going to talk about how to remember your talk. Now, if you have trouble remembering your talk, don't worry, because I find it the hardest thing. I never ever do the talk the same way twice. Some people, I don't know, I mean, how do actors learn Shakespeare and stuff like that when, you know, I couldn't ever do that. So, I just want to tell you a few techniques that someone like me uses to remember their talks. First of all, we talked about it yesterday, the cue cards, when I talked about how to write your talk. I write bits on cue cards, move them all around, change them in order. Then I'll try and learn it when I'm out walking the dog. And then I'll have the cue cards on stage, and I may not ever use them. And I don't think that's particularly distracting when I'm pacing around the stage. I won't stand up because I'll go out of the shot, but I'll be pacing around the stage and I'll have this in my hand and I might just go, yeah, next bit, and I'll put that down like that. And always try and have if there's a lectern that you can go back to when you're in trouble. And I pace around the stage sort of like a stand-up comedian style, and then go back to the lectern and just usually while they're laughing. Oh, some kind of message coming in. And use that laughter or applause bit just to find the next bit. So cue cards are great to use when you're remembering your talk. I also advocate the use of a clipboard. Now, it's quite lucky for me because I do a lot of comparing, and so it's quite usual to see a compare with a clipboard, because I'll be saying, our next speaker today is, you'll expect me to be reading off there. He comes from there and he's fantastic at that. Please welcome, and you know, you're quite used to the compare having the clipboard. So I'm quite lucky in that respect because I do a lot of comparing. So, but don't be afraid to have a clipboard. I think it's a little bit intrusive to have it all the time. And if you know your material, you shouldn't really be carrying a clipboard around the stage. But you can always have it lying. I also have a small little table. I should have got that out, but I think it's actually in the car. But it's about like a clipboard. I'll show you on tomorrow night's show if I remember. It's about like a clipboard, but it's about an inch or so thick. And you open it up and some legs come down, and it'll make a little table about the height of this one that I've got this toolbox on. And the legs come out, and I always have that at the corner of a stage, just with a glass of water on, just because lots of stages and places you go, they don't have a lectern or anything. Or if you're in some kind of a conference room, you've always got your own little mini table where you can have a clipboard, have your notes, have some water. So those are things to remember. Another way of remembering your talk, and lots of people do this, it's a sort of mind technique where you remember bits of the talk as though it's on a familiar journey that you go on. I don't really advocate that. I have used it sometimes, and what I've done is I've put my notes, blue tacked them up to the wall in various parts of my house a couple of weeks before a really big talk, and then if I think I'm going to forget it, I'll think, right, I've come in the front door, what is that one that's pinned just to the bottom of the stairs? Oh yeah, it's that's the next bit. But to be honest, I'm not sure if I think that's a brilliant idea anyway, even though I've just suggested it, because I think if you've got to remember where the things are in your house, you may as well just remember the talk. Anyway, here's my brilliant idea. You may have noticed this toolbox in the background quite a lot when I've done these every day in February's. And that's because my company is called Talking Toolbox Limited. And inside this toolbox, which plays a big part in my big keynote on how to do better presentations, is all based around this toolbox. Now, the reason I came up with this toolbox is because in the toolbox are all the tools you'll need to be a better speaker. And I used to do the talk without the toolbox and say, right, these are the things you need to do to be a better speaker. But because I'm so dreadful at remembering it, I couldn't remember it. And so I'd use notes or PowerPoints and things. And this way just works for me. So I then put all the different tools inside the toolbox and I build it up, you know, before opening it up, and everyone's very excited, what's going to be in there? And all the little things are in there are different tools to make you a better speaker. So there's a razor, and that is to symbolise cutting your talk, keeping it down to size. Bit of ribbon, that's about gift wrapping your talk into entertaining little bits. There's a map here. This is actually a map of the London Underground, the tube, and that symbolises that you should always have a roadmap at the start of your talk so that people know where you're going. And all of these things are in the toolbox, and I can busk around that, which is what I like to do. And I'll have 20 points that I know I'm going to hit, but I might get them in slightly different orders. And all the little things that come out of here. Shark. Oh, I wonder what that's about. Well, you'll have to book me to find out. A remote control, all these things, and then I'll do a few minutes about that. But really, as well as making it more visually interesting for the audience, for me, it's helping me remember the talk, because I find that bit really tricky. So I hope some of those have been useful to you on how you remember your talks. I'll try and remember that little table tomorrow night. I bet I don't. Sorry Jimmy wasn't in the programme very much today, but he's been in a bit of a funny mood. We're still in talks with his agent. When February is finished, his agent's very worried that that will be the end of Jimmy's career, because he's only signed up to do the 28 videos. And what we've said is that there are talks now, and I can reveal this for the first time, that after Every Day in February, don't worry, it's not going to be Every Day in March, I think I'd go mad, there's going to be the Gem and Jim show, which will be a weekly video. I think it'll probably come out on a Friday, and it will be me and Jimmy co-hosting it, looking at some of the stories in the world across the week. It'll be the Gem and Jim show, but it's still in the final stages, just because Jimmy's agents are holding out for it to be the Jim and Gem show, and I'm not having that. Okay, so thanks for watching. See you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.